Megan Levy here with Dana White. And Dana, before we get into anything...
Shorter than normal.
Yeah, I have flat shoes on. It's cold out, all right? But before we get into anything for this fight, you made an announcement today about John Anik joining the UFC team. Can you just kind of explain for those who didn't see the press conference what John's role will be?
Yeah, he's actually going to work on. We're building these different teams. We're producing so much programming over the next couple of years that we needed a whole nother team and doing more fights. You know, Goldie and Rogan can't do all the fights and can't be everywhere. So I wanted Anik bad. I was going after him. We aggressively went after him, and you know, I'm pretty pumped that we got the deal done and we were able to get him away from ESPN. So. You know, basically what he's going to do is he'll be doing the fights on FX. He's going to have a role in the new Ultimate Fighter that's coming out on FX. Basically, the Fuel Network, if you're a UFC fan, you're going to want to have Fuel. There's going to be so many fights, like live fights on Fuel, and lots of programming going on Fuel that John Anik will be a part of.
All right, one of the most talented and nicest guys in the industry.
I agree.
Now it's Thursday. There was a lot of drama surrounding this card. Do you feel a little bit of relief now? Nick showed up. You know, everything's gone smoothly so far.
Yeah, everything worked perfect. I got to tell you though, it was a little. It was kind of shitty here today to see. You know, the press bitches that he's not here, he doesn't show up, and then they start kind of like harassing him while he's here. I mean, he's here. Talk to him about the fight. What do you want to know? Don't talk to him about not showing up and this and that, and you know that was a little disappointing, and that's the kind of stuff that gets in a kid's head like that and makes him not want to come back to a press conference.
Yeah, interesting enough, yesterday he said that if he could do it all over again, he would have signed his boxing contract and boxed his fight, got paid, and then eventually came back to MMA. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you this: if Nick doesn't like the way things go around here, he's definitely not going to like boxing. For instance, you don't show up for 6 flights, right? You miss 6 flights in the boxing thing, the promoter will charge him. Will charge him for all. They'll take it out of his purse. Everything that they do for you in boxing comes out of your purse. They don't just go out there and spend the money. Hey, Nick Diaz missed another flight. All right, find him and book another flight. He'd pay for that. All the things that he thinks are wrong and hard and all the stuff that he thinks is bad over here, believe me, wait till he gets to boxing.
Well, somebody who's very happy with the organization is Penn, because he actually told me yesterday that he thinks you give him title shots easier than anybody else in the sport.
He thinks that I do?
Yeah. Would you agree with that?
I don't know about that. You know, well, I guess yesterday BJ was my friend. BJ's hot and cold. One minute he's battling with me and writing books and all kinds of other shit, and the next minute he's, you know, I'm giving him more title shots than anybody.
Well, going off of that, if he wins convincingly on Saturday, is he close to a title shot?
I don't know. I mean, now that he said I give him to him too easy, now I got to back off.
Now you're going to be hard.
I don't know if BJ Penn's ready for a title yet, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Matt Mitrione's in the co-main event. Started his career pretty much on the tough 10 in the house. How impressed are you with the improvement he's made since being in the house to now?
Incredible. I mean, he's a completely different person. He's a completely different fighter. I love Mitrione, man. I think he's talented. He's always exciting. He goes in to bang, and him and Czech Congo is going to be fun.
Yeah, Mitrione is obviously a very talented fighter, and somebody else who's very talented on the card is Roy Nelson, but you've been critical of him because of his physical appearance, maybe saying he should lose some weight, and he has now. He's made a lot less of a deal than us in the media have about his weight loss. Is that something that makes you happy, knowing he's working on his physique and his cardio and everything?
It's not even working on his physique. My thing to Roy Nelson was, you know, yeah, you're talented. You're a talented guy, and look at what you've been able to achieve. Now imagine if you took yourself seriously and actually took your career seriously. You know, the fat thing was funny for a minute, you know, but imagine if the guy really got into shape and did what you're supposed to do, where he could be. And at the end of the day, it's up to him. I mean, I give these guys, I don't ever really get involved in guys' personal lives or their training or any of that stuff, but I talked to Roy. Roy and his wife have come and sat down with me many times and asked for my advice, and I've given it to him. It's just, I think the guy should take his career seriously and get down as light as he could get into the best physical condition he could possibly get into, you know, and we'll see what happens.
Is it safe to say you're not a fan of the beard then?
Yeah, no, I'm not you know, I'm not a fan of the mullet either, but, you know, whatever you're into, man.
Well, he's fighting Cro Cop, and Cro Cop had, 2 losses back-to-back, both knockout losses, and you said last time he fought, maybe he should think about retiring. Do you think Cro Cop is kind of in the same position Tito was in, like one more loss and we're going to have to let you go?
Yeah, Mirko, I actually, today at the press conference, Mirko was awesome today here. And I loved what he had to say, and I think he pretty much laid it out. That's the first time I've heard him say he's thinking about retiring, whether he wins or loses this fight. And, Mirko's a warrior. He says today, I've had a great career and done some great things, except here in the UFC, which I will never forgive myself for. It's just stuff like that makes you just love the guy. He's such a warrior, and he's so passionate about fighting and winning, and we'll see what happens.
It's a really stacked main card for UFC 137, but Brad Tavares got injured and you moved the bantamweights up to the pay-per-view card. How do you decide on that? Like, how do you say, okay, if there's an injury or somebody's off the card, we're going to pull this fight and now put them on the pay-per-view?
Well, we obviously look for fights that we hope are going to be exciting and that we think will be entertaining, and guys that we feel, will perform.
All right, and Hatsu Hayoki is making his UFC debut on Saturday. Is this kind of a show where you can show all the UFC fans, because he is a very elite featherweight in the world, but many people may not know him. Is this kind of where you can show him off and say, hey, look what we got?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think if he wins, he could be next in line for Jose Aldo?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, thank you so much, Dana. Go get warm. This is really cold outside today. We'll see you at 137.